Whatever you do, don't mention anything about capturing too. Good. Okay, welcome to me.
He was gonna say, "Don't say anything bad about Brittany." That's his job.
I just want you to be like totally paranoid throughout the interview. What is it that I'm not supposed to say?
Sorry.
Welcome to First Live Coffee House for another edition with.
Remember my name? Do you remember my name this time? Last time he didn't introduce me.
Someone forgot to introduce. No, that's the problem. Okay, we're on. So this is First Live Coffee House. We are live streaming, very exciting, and I'm joined with by Sade Spence. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for remembering me.
Last week I forgot you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
How was your week?
Great. Good. I went out to a venue that we're going to talk about later.
Yes.
Super excited. But before that, we've got some wine to talk about.
Yes, indeed. We're really happy to have Shlomo from City Winery here. How are you doing?
Fantastic. How you doing?
Very good, and thank you for coming down to talk to us.
Yeah.
We have a lot to ask you. City Winery is a wonderful venue, quite a unique venue.
Thank you.
And I guess, how long have you been working there? Let's start there.
Yeah.
Pre-opening. So our first show was New Year's 2009. So I would say sometime September of 2008, I rolled in while it was still a construction site. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So you've seen the whole process.
Oh, yeah.
Were you expecting it to be as successful as it has become, I suppose?
Well, anytime you open up anything, you hope it's going to be successful, but the chances are against you. I mean, the statistics about any new business are pretty brutal. So, you try to think positively and work hard. And it was started with a nucleus team, and you just roll with it. And before you know it, we're now open in multiple locations in multiple markets and expanding faster than you can imagine.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we were very impressed to see how many city wineries there are now in such a short space of time.
I'm just glad we didn't call it, New York Winery. This way, we could lend that name to anywhere where there's a city.
Exactly.
Yeah. But can you just tell us a little bit about the space? Because we know that you nicely blend a music venue with a restaurant, and of course that kind of winery aspect into it, all in New York. So tell us a little bit about.
Well, initially we were hoping. Initially we knew there were two elements that we wanted to focus on. We knew that we wanted to make an urban winery, which is basically bringing the grapes from the vineyards to the city and making wine on premise. And then we knew that we wanted to do a music venue, and it went from trying to do 2-3 shows a week to producing over 320 shows a year now, every year. So. Now every new location really has 3 main elements. We have a functioning winery in every city, a music venue that also functions as obviously a restaurant and bar and an event space, and then multiple smaller locations within the space to function as private event space. So I would say the minimum amount of square feet that we're looking at any new location is about 23,000 square feet as a minimum. So it's a pretty big operation.
It's a huge operation.
Yeah.
So your official title is National Program Director, right?
Sure.
And you're going to try and explain to us what that might encompass a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, with multiple locations.
Sounds great, by the way.
Well, thank you. I know I worked a lot on that title. The best creative minds. So with multiple locations, the idea is to try to leverage the relationship that we have in each venue with the artists and create some kind of not only cohesive programming between all the wineries, obviously while keeping a local flavor and element, because not all the artists that work at New York work in Chicago and vice versa. And with programming that many shows, you really have to have kind of ear to the ground and program a lot of local talent. So my job is not only to oversee and make sure that every city has this kind of city winery character to the programming, but also try to leverage the relationship to create exclusive and multi-city runs. So last year we did a very cool run with Joan Armour Trading, with basically the agent comes to us and says, okay, Shlomo, we want to do a city winery tour. I work with each city to get avails and offers, and then we basically put the artists on the road for 2 weeks straight in all locations. And as we grow, those opportunities are going to grow as well. So
those artists will visit each city winery. Is what you're
exactly.
saying.
So we do 3 nights in New York, a day off, a travel day, do Chicago, do Nashville, do Atlanta, do Boston. So that's kind of the main scheme things. And then of course, booking music, like any other business, it's really relationships. And over the years, I've built these relationships with the artists and with managers and with agents, and really using those relationships to have the artists come and play each room. For example, Citizen Cope, who's kind of become a friend of City Winery in New York. We now work with him every new location. He helps kind of open up the room with 4 or 5 night run, or someone like a comedian like Lewis Black, who's friends with the owner. We use those relationships to say, okay, well, Lewis, we're opening up Atlanta in May. We would love for you to, even though you play large theaters, to come and do multiple nights to kind of help support the brand.
Yeah, which they gladly do.
Sure. I mean, it's amazing what you do if you get paid the right amount. No, but again, it's great because they love what we do. Their fans love what we do, and it's all kind of hand in hand.
Yeah, what is the experience like for the artist when it comes to your venue? What's kind of setting it apart from just being, like Bowery or somewhere else?
That's a great question because one of City Winery was my first job in the music business, and as someone who's kind of was newbie to the business, I kind of was asking all the questions as the artists showed up. What do you like or don't you like when you come to a venue? And I took to heart just a couple of comments that they had. One was kind of ongoing complaint was they go to play a sold out show, and then after the show they go to the bar and ask for a beer, and the bartender charges them for a beer,
right?
Which is just ridiculous because obviously this person just bought your major business. How much does a beer cost a business owner? 40 cents, 50 cents. I'm sorry, bar owners. Just exposing how much you're making on each beer. So making sure that they're really, it's also known thing that a hungry artist is a sad artist, and artist with a full stomach is a happy one. So really utilizing the fact that we're a full restaurant and bar, and giving them everything they want, giving them a full meal, not giving them some buffet or slice of pizza, giving them letting them choose the steak or the the fish of the day, and giving them as much beer and wine that they want. So that was the kind of one aspect that I think they really enjoy. Secondly, another comment that they had was, so many times, artists sometimes, or many of the artists go on tour 120, 150, sometimes 180 days a year. And these venues just become like a faceless and nameless place where they just come, they stamp, they play a show and go on. So they were telling me that a lot of times they go play a venue and the only person they really interact with is a security guy or a concert manager.
Right.
And especially with a name like Shlomo, just to make sure that they know that's not, Rabbi Shlomo from Brooklyn, just staying over there, becoming like the face, becoming someone, not just showing up for 2 minutes, handing them the check at the end of the night, checking in with them after sound check, checking in just before the set, making sure they want something, and kind of building this face to the venue. And I think that's a big part. They know that when they come play City Winery, they know they're come playing for, they're going to see my face, they're going to see the owner's place. Creating a staff that's really geared, that's really supportive for music. I love it so much about City Winery is that people come and you have a smiling face. Especially in New York. Anyone who's in the restaurant business is either a aspiring actor or a musician or an artist, and these people are just very charismatic and enthusiastic about it, and creating an environment. And that environment also not only affects the artists but also the patrons. It's it's people coming in and saying, this is not just a venue where I just a faceless and nameless venue where you just come in and your name is just a name on on a guest list and you and a bartender that's kind of snobbing you and you know and you're not drinking a glass of wine from a plastic cup.
Right.
I was just telling you know if you walk through the city winery doors, I mean, you have this army of staff. You almost want to have the staff kind of do this, and you kind of walk around and kind of high five everyone, because you know we have
nice.
5 people who check you in with iPads and say, "Oh, hello, Mr. You know X," and you have seaters who take you to your seat, and you have people that are walking around and having you taste the wine that we make on premise, making sure that people that are sitting and watching their favorite artists understand that 30 feet from on their left there's a functioning winery, and how mind-blowing that is.
Exactly.
Very genuine
and
interaction.
a very big, a very large staff of customer of concierge and customer service. So you have this kind of back and forth, and people know that there's a face, a name behind everything that we do.
It's important.
Yeah.
I've always found it sort of strange that music venues is the one kind of customer service world where it's just not
very servicey.
Very servicey, exactly. And it's just kind of got missed out in the music venue world for the most part, but it's not. It's encouraging to hear, that you have that kind of ethic that goes through restaurants.
It's a competitive
bars,
market. I
retail.
mean, it's people are looking these days for anything. I mean, they're looking for that added value. It's they're not just coming for a show; they're coming for an experience, and this experience is important not only for the customer but also for the artist. It's the experience that we give the person who bought the ticket reflects not only on us but also on the artist. That's exactly how we feel about it. If you had a shitty experience, that affects how I listen to music. If I'm a sad person, I don't hear the filters and don't work really the same way.
Sure.
Yeah, but you also give the artist additional exposure besides just performing on your stage. But you guys have cellar sessions, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we feel like a venue is a platform really to create something that is really unique and special for that exact moment. And many of the shows that we put on in City Winery are really hybrid shows. If they're a tribute show, if they're a special, we're doing a benefit show for Ivan Julian, who unfortunately is sick, and we're raising money. And we have, the Debbie Harry and the Ian Hunters and everyone kind of coming together. So this is really unique content. So the thought behind it was not only are we lending our stage for kind of one of a time an experience, but also how else do we capture this this original content. And we came up with a guy named Ehud who's volunteering his time, and he comes with a multi-camera setup and some microphones, and we basically use our relationship to ask the artist after they sound check to come down to our cellar, which these beautiful wooden barrels that are filled with wine. And have them just do 2 or 3 songs acoustically. And then what came from it is not only they're right here at this time in this place, but also when we're then having that same artist play in a different venue in a different market, we now could push this original content that has City Winery branding, as opposed to showing a video from artists from 1997 at the I don't know
another venue,
some jazz fest or some other thing that's really not connected. So that kind of what pushed it forward.
Very nice.
Yeah, super cool. And I mean, they've thought a lot about their venue, which is really cool, because you even told me about how you guys have incorporated wine into a style of merch, which I think is really cool. And I know you want to know about that.
I would like to know about.
Well, the thought is, especially if the kind of baby boomers or the kind of the demo that comes to us, if you're going to see Boz Skaggs, or you're going to see Marian Faithful, or but you have every single T-shirt, keychain, CD, whatever Fakapta merch that they've come up over the years. But what you don't have is the Marian Faithful Chardonnay, and the wine is made already on premise, and it's just a way for us to create a really cool label and unique merchandise that we sell it and is acted as a reverse merch. So the artist gets $10 for every bottle that's sold, and the fan gets to walk away with a bottle of wine with their favorite. And it's funny. I mean, seeing artists' expression when they see their face on a bottle of wine, it's like they're, little kids, like, look at him, it's my face, look at this.
Very cool.
And it's a story. Again, these people then, we don't allow them to open the bottle in the venue. They put it on the shelf, and then, on the Shabbat dinner, they come and tell them, oh, what is this? This is the City Winery. And, it's just a cool way to kind of get our brand out. And again, create a certain kind of cool memorabilia. And a lot of the artists end up actually coming and buying a bunch of cases to give their family for the holidays. And we sell all the bottles online as well. So you could go and choose your favorite artist wine. Even if you were not able to attend the show, you're still able to buy the bottle online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about
so cool?
that. Yeah, it's very cool. That's
Do you want a bottle of your own wine?
That's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think I deserve one.
I know, right?
So in terms of talking about wine and music, I suppose it's good for us because it's interesting, I should say, because we have coffee and music, and we see them tied very closely together. Whenever you kind of at a venue or like talking to other musicians, you usually end up talking about coffee and this kind of coffee house thing that's been going on for many years, in the jazz world, etc. And I'm just wondering about the angle on wine and music, and maybe if there's something specific about that, and also any difficulties that go along with trying to have a winery and a music venue.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you touched it, because one of our kind of slogans is indulge your senses. I mean, that's a kind of thing. I'm gonna maybe butchering it. It's smell the music, taste the wine,
right.
Hear the food.
Exactly.
It's amazing, when you go see a show and you may be sober and you're like, it's okay, and then you have a couple glasses of wine. Oh, this is amazing. So in general, we definitely see that synergy between the food, the wine, and the music. We even go as far as creating special wine and music pairings. I mean, one of our first original programming was Stevie Wonder music and wine pairing, and it was a very simple thing. We took 21 songs of Stevie Wonder and paired it with 21 1-ounce wines, and put together this kind of placeholder that basically explained why this Pinot works extremely well with this Stevie Wonder song. And then it's amazing, after 21 ounces of wine, people have the best time of their life, or they have their face down, so we definitely see that, and we try to encourage it. And we do wine pairings, and we do a lot of programming that's kind of associated with the music. As far as the functioning winery, we've come to a point that even though we have 300 wines on our wine list, really 70% of the wine that we sell in the venue is wine on tap. Mm-hmm. And I was telling what's cool about making wine and selling it in the same spot is you have that flexibility. Now, initially, wine on tap was looked looked down at, but when you think about it, a lot of people who have migraines when they're drinking wine, it's really from the sulfites and from the preservatives that you put in the wine when you bottle it. And if you make the wine on premise and then it goes straight from the wooden barrel straight to a tap system, you're basically kind of bypassing that, and forget about the green process of not having to bottle it. You get to serve it. So that aspect of it, and again, it's we're all creating these businesses to tell a story, and to be able to know that you're sitting in a music venue and you're sipping wine that was made just 30 feet on your left, and then hopefully you want to come back and you have such a good experience. You also want to have your kid's bar mitzvah, or you want to have your wedding in that same location. I mean, it's a story, and it's something. It's this added value that we add, and just understanding that music is. It's not just music. It's multi-senses, you feel it, you taste it, you see it. There's this whole thing, and everyone has a special story associated with music. It's your first kiss, it's your first date, a breakup. You're listening to this insane thing in your headphones when you saw this or that. So it's really part of a bigger story.
I love it. That's very well told as well, and also. Now you're telling us that we can go to City Winery and drink as much as we like without getting a hangover. This is a fantastic thing.
That's what organic means to you. Yeah. But also, how is it difficult at all to have all of that made on the premise? I mean, how was that process, and how did it come?
Is it
to
the
be?
most? Does it make most sense financially? Probably no. I mean, we source our grapes from different locations. We have most of the vineyards are in California, but we do upstate New York, Oregon. We actually do a Malbec from Chile and Argentina. So the grapes arrive in crates, and as opposed to juice, because transferring them in crates kind of helps the integrity of the grapes, and we have a full functioning winery. I mean, we process the grapes. It goes through the fermentation, and we do the crush, and then it ages over there, and we do the bottling, the labeling. We even have a French winemaker to go with the story. I think it's one of those things where you could not know what the hell you're talking about, but if it's in French accent, you're like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. But we have lab people, so it's a full operation. It's really kind of insane, and we actually do events throughout the year to kind of let people know. Like I said, even if it's going from table to table and having them taste our wine and saying, hey, this wine is made over here. Every time the grapes arrive, we actually get people in and be part of the process. So, we don't have the I Love Lucy kind of stomping on the grapes. Although you'll be surprised how many people actually ask if that's how we do it. But you could be part of it and just feeling the grapes and kind of taking this wine country experience into the urban environment. Is pretty cool.
That's is that like a tour you book, or how can
yeah,
people...
you could book tours, and you can make your own barrel of wine and have tasting sessions and blending sessions with a winemaker, and a lot of the private events kind of do these kind of cool wine pairings elements, and all of our staff are very knowledgeable about wine.
Absolutely. Obviously. Did we find anything in the first live guide that we wanted to have a little
I actually mentioned a little bit of what I wanted to mention, but yeah, I mean, I'll just read another sentence. It's more or less about some of the musical
I learned
greats.
about City Winery from your guide.
That's right.
You read them.
So there's a story. We came to visit you. I think we spoke with you, right? 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That's,
I think it was even longer.
And now we have a live version of the book.
Yeah, and you're hearing it, but we can still read a little excerpt. So this is the guide to live music venues, which is what we are based on, all of us here.
Yeah.
But I just want to talk a little bit about the go-to guide, and even you're using it, right? But just to read a little bit about some of the amazing people that you guys have had come through, or people like Suzanne Vega, Philip Glass, Patti Smith, Lou Reed, and Bobby De Niro. And I know we were talking earlier, and you said one of your memorable moments was Prince. So can you actually tell us a little bit about that crazy, was it 2-3 day
Prince is one of those bookings where, you don't choose to book him, he chooses to book you.
Right.
And anyone who's ever interacted with him knows that. And actually the first time that we had an interaction was 4 years ago. It was December. We did Esperanza Spalding had a nonprofit called Free the Slaves that she was supporting, and she put a show together with a bunch of friends and a high ticket price. It was her, Bobby McFerrin, and Paul Simon. And for those of her friends who were not able to show up in flesh, she asked them to kind of donate a bunch of different products. And at 3 o'clock in the afternoon during sound check, I'm in the venue, and this UPS guy shows up and with a package, and it says for Esperanza Spalding, and I take it from the UPS guy, I give it to Esperanza. I'm standing by her, and she opens it up, and it's a package from Prince, and it's a purple sock. And it's a sock, and everyone's kind of looking like, do you understand what this is? And it says, if you like this, I could bring you the other one. And I thought it was initially some kind of inside joke, but it was, but nobody understood, like, haha, and moved on. And then an hour later, I get a phone call from his security guy saying, Prince is got on a jet, he's on the way to City Winery. He wants to hand something to Esperanza on stage.
Amazing.
And I get a phone call like 10 minutes before she goes on, and it's like, Prince is outside. He walks in, and he's holding this signature bass guitar, with his, the sign,
the symbol.
With the symbol, and he just walks in, just probably one of the best dressed people I've ever met. And he just comes and hands me the guitar, the bass guitar, and I hand it to Esperanza, and he watches the show and then disappears. And that was my first interaction. And then maybe 6 months later, I get a phone call. I'm actually in Williamsburg having brunch, and working with Prince. We're in Chicago. We're doing a big wedding, and we want to play tonight at City Winery in Chicago.
Incredible.
I'm like, okay. So obviously I got on a plane to go to Chicago, and it was one of the most mind-blowing experiences. We put it on sale. Chicago, you're not allowed to serve alcohol after 1 o'clock. He's like, don't worry. You know, he talks to the mayor. We goes on at one place until 4 o'clock, and then 6 months after that, we do these shows in New York City, and seeing Prince railing on a guitar and doing a 4.5 hour set, going on 2.
Wow.
And, you know, if you've ever been to City Winery in New York, you know it's on the street level, and the back is windows. You can see the street. So he played one show on a Thursday night. Friday night, we had it was basically New Power Generation, one of his old backing bands, and he may or may not show up every single show. So Thursday night he showed up, then Friday night he shows up at quarter 1, gets on stage. I'm standing next to him. I was like, oh my God, he's going to go on stage back-to-back nights. And he just turns around. He's like, I'm not feeling the vibe, and then leaves.
Wow.
And that week was full of stories. And then Sunday night, he goes on at 2:30, and at 6:45 he's still, you know, playing. And there are people going to work on Monday morning and just walking by City Winery. They're like, God damn, is that Prince?
Incredible.
Is it too early?
You know, again, it was one of the most stressful weeks for me, but I would sign up on it for it
exactly
again anytime.
I'm sure it's a very challenging job you have, but those stories kind of make it more than worthwhile.
That was definitely a highlight.
Yeah, but I think it definitely ties in that whole genuine aspect that you guys bring to the winery, that someone can keep coming back regardless of the status of artists.
No doubt. I mean, we wanted to create a room where, you know, like kind of the bottom line was, you know, years back in New York City, where you never know who's going to show up. You know, I've witnessed where David Byrne, you know, parks his bike outside of City Winery and walks on stage. You know, we want to have that thing, and because again, going back to the community, the fact that we're such a hub and a safe haven for artists, and we take good care of them, and really there's no backstage, front stage. I mean, it's such a small venue, people walk around, and everyone knows the staff, and the staff knows them, then they feel comfortable coming and showing up and doing these kind of really unique stuff that you would never think for a 300 seated room to be able to kind of host some of these big dogs.
Yeah.
So I guess just finishing up, just to hear a little bit about the other cities you have now, one in Napa, one in Chicago.
Napa, rest in peace, don't ever mention it again. No, I'm kidding. You know, Chicago was our second venue. Chicago's been open for 4 years. It's amazing venue. We've been doing extremely successful over there. Again, talking back to, we have our normal kind of city winery artists over there, but much more neo soul and kind of urban vibe over there, because that's the niche and fits over there. We do much more comedy over there because there's really not as much competition as in comedy over there as there is over here. We opened up Napa. Unfortunately, that closed. I mean, that's just part of the kind of growing pains. There's no city in Napa. There's only 80,000 people. The idea was really to open up to kind of leverage some of the relationships that we had with the wineries. That's no longer. We opened up in Nashville a year and a half ago, right across from Third Man Records, Jack White's place, a really cool venue. We're opening up Napa in May. We're opening up Boston in October, and the idea is to open up 2 or 3 locations every year. It's fast. It's it's fast paced, but our job is to really scale it correctly, and really what's cool about this expansion, is the last thing I'll touch on it, is very, very quickly we decided we don't want to be kind of the hard rock. We don't want anyone who comes in sees the exact same photo in each location, the exact same guitar. You have that kind of feeling, that warmth, a signature bottle of wine bottle, stairway. The vibe is the same, but the graphics are slightly different, and the artwork is different, and so it's walking that kind of thin line between trying to duplicate an experience, but without kind of a copy paste.
Exactly.
So it's Boston and Atlanta, was it, that it's opening?
Those are the 2 markets that are opening this year.
Do you expect to have maybe somewhat of a niche in those, I guess, regions, while keeping your same blueprint?
Again, same thing, and we're going to do a lot of the same programming that we have in all the other rooms that you see in New York. Same kind of signature artists, but again, an emphasis on the local talent
Local.
and just fitting whatever the market kind of calls for. I would say 40%, 50% of the artists are going to be the same in different timing, different kind of different configurations, but the rest are going to be local and slightly different programming that fits that specific location. I mean, we don't want to become that kind of that monster from New York who comes in like, oh, we're the big city. We'll do whatever worked in New York, worked exactly everywhere else. It's again, that's the idea. We hope to be able to maintain that kind of scalability.
Perfect. Well, Shlomo Libitz from City Winery, I want to thank you so much for coming down and having some coffee with us and chatting.
Yeah. I'm wired up. I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight. 5 cups of coffee, but
maybe a couple of glasses of wine.
Drink some wine.
There we go. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll play a track of the week now. This is going to be a track by a band called Lazy Eyes, and it's a song called Darling Dear. We'll come back and chat a little bit about that after the song. Cool. So that is a band called Lazy Eyes. I figured we had a little slightly different genre this week.
I just need to know what makes their eyes so lazy.
That's what we.
Is it late nights performing?
That's what we're going to find out. I haven't got too much info on this band except they're from Brooklyn, and the fact that I was excited about is that they're playing at Arlene's Grocery, and they're playing on February the 29th. Which I always get very excited about leap years, so I just thought I'd throw that one in.
Oh yeah, it is a leap year.
And that's like the extra day.
Yeah.
So I think we should all go down to Arlene's and see some bands on that extra day.
So what was the kind of genre you would throw this band into?
Well,
actually, I know you said you want to break the mold a little bit, because I tend to do like alt pop singer-songwriter duo things,
which I really do like. I just thought I'd throw in some,
throw me off
from some of the and some of these songs that the Lazy Eyes have are much more shoegazy, which I liked, and their sound kind of reminds me a little bit of 80s in the UK sound. It's kind of a little bit dirgy, and usually the vocals aren't very loud, and it's kind of like a very like guitar jangly, heavy, reverby world, which is always nice to be in. But really, it was just throwing something different out there, and seeing. I wanted to see who was playing next week, and Arlene's is a great venue that we'll hopefully talk to them soon.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, on that night, do you know if they're going to have a lot of artists that are kind of in that same scope, or do they tend to mix things up at Arlene's? Because I've actually never been there.
They're quite good at curating, and there are kind of 4 bands of that ilk, which I will find out and post notes on afterwards as who's playing there, and that's it really. I just liked a little something different.
Yeah.
So we will have Arlene's on soon, but we wanted to talk. I'm really glad that you managed to get down to this. Probably one of the newest venues in New York, especially in Manhattan.
It's definitely somewhat newer. It's in the East Village. You don't
Berlin.
Yeah, Berlin. It is underneath 2A. Or I mean, they kind of function as the same place, but if you're looking for the venue versus the bar, it's downstairs right around the corner. It's called Berlin. It's a very cute, tiny space. You walk in and basically you have a bar, and towards the back end of the corner is a little stage that just kind of
Cool.
Yeah, it's probably maybe like a few inches off the ground, so it's not hard to get a nice little intimate experience in there.
So is it slightly divey towards the divey world, or is it quite nice down there actually?
I would say it's actually quite nice. If I recall, I think I saw somewhat of like a chandelier type thing in the middle. Hopefully I'm not making that up, but I just remember it being like a little, it was a disco ball. Never mind.
Ball.
So maybe not a chandelier, it was a disco ball. Disclaimer, but it
That's
still
a
had
New York chandelier.
Yeah, it still had a really nice like chic vibe to it. They had little candles along the bar. There's a coat check. Right when you walk in, there's a open area for a coat check, and then it leads to the kind of hallway bar.
Cool.
Yeah, the staff, mainly females, at least the night I was there. So it was very, they were very sweet, nice, very helpful. And I think it kind of played into the whole environment of the night because I was there for That Poppy, which is this super cute artist on Island Records. If you think of that mod Twiggy vibe,
right,
kind of like mixed with Gwen Stefani and some Harajuku girls, Japanese anime type. That's who you've got. You've got That Poppy.
That's a nice mix.
Yeah, so I think you have a cute little friendly staff that blended with this kind of anime caricature type artist.
Love it.
She's got this beautiful like platinum blonde hair. She wears cute pink dresses, and she produces this kind of like ska music that straddles the line between, Everybody Loves Me and Why Life's Really Fabulous, but just making lighthearted of everything.
That's cool. I saw some footage that we'll play in just a sec, and I saw that she certainly has quite a lot of charisma on stage, and she looks like quite a fun person to watch the show.
Yeah, definitely. She was definitely really fun to watch. I didn't get to record this, but in between sets, her recorded voice comes on air while she's, just adjusting, having a sip of her coffee, and it'll say things like, "That Poppy is on Facebook. Let's be friends." And there's also like "That Poppy loves performing for you guys. You're such a great audience." So she really takes on this really cute kind of playful vibe to her.
With a little clever little marketing.
Yeah, with a little bit of cheekiness to her, which I think, it just plays right into her whole aesthetic, and I love it.
It's quite unique.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at your
take a look.
Yeah, exactly. That Poppy.
Yeah, so what did you think?
Yeah, it definitely sounds like fun. I would definitely call it like fun music.
Yeah, and you can get that little bit of like ska mixed with pop, which is like really cool. So she's already had a feature in Teen Vogue, and they're looking to put her out in some other markets. She's talked to like Billboard and different places this week. So she's really actually growing in popularity.
Sure. She's signed to Island, so that's definitely
signed to Island. I actually talked to her right after because I'm friend, I talked with her publicist. We're like friends, so she's always like, "Come meet so and so," and she's just as adorable off stage as she is on stage, which I think always makes for a great performance when the artist just like walks off and talks with everybody.
Very nice.
That specific event was her EP, like an exclusive EP performance, because she just released it. It's on Spotify. It's 4 songs. They're super cute. I feel like definitely give them a listen if you like anything poppy.
Yeah, no, it's
poppy. But yeah, definitely give her a listen. So she's someone cute to look out for.
Cool. No, it's a refreshing poppy sound. When,
And her publicist was even telling me, I was like, yeah, she sounds like she's a little bit of ska. And she's like, you know what? No one knew what to call that anymore. They thought it was reggae. And I'm like, yeah, if you remember, ska used to be really big with No Doubt, Gwen Stefani. I think she's kind of bringing that back in a new package.
That's right. Nicely put. Exactly right. That's wonderful. Great. And Berlin as a venue. Obviously, I'm actually going to go next week and check out a band anyway, which that was quite a random coincidence when you told me. I was like, oh, that's where I'm going next week. But it seems like they've got a solid booking. Curation going on there, and lots of bands.
Yeah, it looks like they're really good at putting out emerging breakthrough artists. Pretty cool, nice, cute space.
Yeah.
The beer I had, it was like $7, so
right,
a good price.
Not terrible, not terrible for Manhattan these days.
Yeah. Taking account you're in the East Village.
Exactly. All right, let's wrap it up for this week. It was great to have City Winery and Berlin again. We got a nice mixture of a classic, very successful high turnover venue, and then the little cute one afterwards, which is good. So this is me, Daniel Morrow, and Sade Spence, and you can join us every week here at First Live Coffee House, and we'll be doing more interviews and more investigating of music venues.
Yeah.
And next week we have SOBs.
Sweet.
So we look forward to that. Until next time.
Bye.
Take care, guys. Slightly better intros and outros.
No, they always sound fine to me.
Don't know. In fact,
let me check the